Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be a part of the Happy and Joyful Release blog hop with Simon Says Stamp. I have a clean, simple, colorful project to share with you using several of these new and exciting products. I'm going to start with the new Layering Alpha stencil set. It's a larger stencil set. You get 3 stencils in the set. It allows you to create these gorgeous alphas. Okay, so I'm going to spell out hugs for my card. If you've checked out some of the examples, which I have been, that's what tickled my fancy. When I saw the examples, I saw one that said happy for a happy birthday. I think Sherry Carroll made that. I saw Callie Person made a celebrate, blew my socks off, and I'm like, I'm going to do hugs, do something different. And I'm going in rainbow order. Because nothing's better than a rainbow order hugs, right? Okay, so for every letter, it's going to take all 3 stencils to build it. Okay, so I came up with this Redneck flap technique. And what it is, so here I'm building the H. And I do several different shades for each little stencil. Now I'll show you when I lay on the 3rd stencil. I lay it over top. I create a little flap to flip it back, remove the previous stencil, then I can slap down the 3rd stencil. That's what I call the Redneck flap technique. I don't know, maybe there's a better way, but that's what I use to line up my stencils every time. Okay, so now we did the H, moving on to the U for hugs, and I'm getting the lay of the land, trying to space it how I want to do, and I'm moving into the yellows because we're going in rainbow order. So I got CITRINE here. If I didn't mention, I'm using mostly all Pawsitively saturated inks. Okay, so here I'm doing the flap. I lay on the next stencil, create a flap, flip it back, remove the previous stencil, like so, and then slap it down. Now you also got to be mindful too, if there's any open spaces around where you're going to be blending, I mask that off with Post-it tape. So you only get the color blended where you want it. Very crucial thing I need to tell you. Mask off, okay? I learned that the hard way. I made a lot of boo-boos. But another thing that would be really good, and I do pull them out when I finally realize it, is the mini blender brushes. This is a great job for a mini blender brushes. Now this is probably not something you're going to want to mass produce unless you know, I guess you could if you got like in a system, but it took a while. But the outcome really tickled my fancy, and I'll show you at the end. Okay, so what color am I using here? TIDEPOOL. Moving into the aquas. Here's where I pull out a mini blender brush. That really allows you to get in the nook and cranny, add a little bit of gradient. Like a gradient is the magic secret sauce. Okay, so here's the little doodad on the G. Okay, and I go in first with a little surf. I felt like it wasn't dark enough, so then I pulled out Aegean, which is a really dark teal. And that gave me the pop and the punch I was longing for. Okay, we're moving on to the S. Got the blue. This is marine. And you know, I'm pulling out brushes from all my little stash. When you try to find a color that matches your ink, you know, and I didn't have a purple Pawsitively saturated ink, so I used Distress ink and Wilted Violet. And that fit the bill. Okay, we're rounding it out. The last little stencil on the S and hugs. We got a little sweets for a hot fuchsia punch in the face. And listen, just look at this. Just bask in the rainbow layered alpha hugs. Okay, I'm going to just stamp a simple sending in black. This is from the Miss You or Missing You stamp set. It's another new stamp set that just came out in the Happy Joyful release. I'm going to trim out this little panel, make it like a horizontal panel, and I'm going to pop it up on a gray card base. How's everybody doing? Everybody always likes to have an update on Hank the Tank. He was a bad boy today. Okay, by the way, on my card base, which is a fog gray card base, I'm going to stamp a new background cling, which is called Soft Plaid. So I'm getting that lined up on my Misty. I'm going to stamp it with Versamark ink. So like a tone-on-tone, subtle gray plaid. Okay, let me tell you why Hank the Tank was a bad boy. I let him outside. He's on a leash. He dug up the whole side of the where the grass meets the driveway, because I'm pretty sure we have a mole. Anybody ever get moles in your grass and they dig up in your yard? And he was on the mole's tail. I'm telling you, he went to town and he dug up the whole strip of the yard. And he was covered in mud and he was a bad boy. And I don't think he caught the mole. But did he have a good time? He was living his best life out there. Okay? And by the way, I finished it off with a few sparkling clear sequins. It's clean, simple. It's got that soft sending you hugs feel to it, which I'm sending you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure and check out the rest of the Happy and Joyful Release blog hop. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.